The Normans were other Jakes that were fighting against the Anglo-Saxons. You had the Cornish, the Normans. You had the Anglo-Saxons. You had the Danes. You had the Moors.
It says they lived under the cruel domination of the Normans, the French-speaking descendants of Vikings. In many modern stories, Robin...
Now, Vikings... Well, wait a minute. Those are supposed to be white people. The Vikings, those were Jakes.
Yeah.
Those were Jakes, man.
And by the way, his name was Robin Hood. That was his real name, Robin Hood. It says, Robin fights for an England where Norman and Saxon can live together in peace. Although Robin is an outlaw, a thief, and a rebel, he is usually a strong supporter of the rightful king, especially when that king is Richard the Lionheart. But Robin will fight Richard's corrupt brother, the usurper prince, and later King John.
Yeah, John.
That's pretty much...
At one time.
Yeah, that's pretty much...
But that's our history, man.
Yeah.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 5, verse 15. Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small.
That's plain and to the point.
This is the book of Job, chapter 8, verse 8. For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers. For we are but of yesterday, and know nothing, because our days upon the earth are a shadow. Shall not they teach thee, and tell thee, and utter words out of their heart? So basically, that's just letting you know that, you're supposed to search the history of your forefathers to let you know who's who. That's how we know that the Japhet is not the white man. So you look at the so-called white man that lives in Europe today, and you think that because they call themselves Europeans or French or whatever, that they're Japhet. They're not Japhet. When you go and dig deep, you find out that the real people that inhabited Europe and those islands in the Mediterranean Sea were dark-skinned people. One good example of that is the Minoans. The Minoans were brown-skinned people that when you look at them and you look at the Polynesian people, they look exactly the same. Those are the people that inhabited all of Europe and the islands of that area. But what happened was when the white man came in there through the Macedonians, Philip of Macedon and his predecessors, the Edomites, they came in there and called themselves Macedonians. That's when they took down the dark nations and they put themselves up. So today you see them as being the people of Europe, but they're not.
Yeah, like this guy, Antiochus, the line of the Antiochus. Antiochus the fourth called himself in his line Syrians, right? And they wasn't Syrians. They were Edomites, man. They was in that land, so they took that land and said, we're going to call ourselves these people. Like the line of the Ptolemy. The Ptolemy line, didn't they call themselves Egypt? The Pharaoh of Egypt, the kings of Egypt? Those are Edomites, man. The Cleopatra, one of the daughters was that of Ptolemy, if I'm not mistaken. It was either Ptolemy or one of the Seleucids. I believe it was one of the Seleucid lines, which was Cleopatra. She wasn't an Egyptian woman. She was an Edomite woman.
She was an Edomite. She was a white woman. And you got these Afro-simplistic people in this Afro-simplicity, and they think, you couldn't tell them, well, that's why the white man, he'll paint up pictures of black people being white. You're right, he does that, but Cleopatra, that line of Cleopatras was not black women. They were white women. They were Edomites. But you figure just because they lived in Egypt that they were black. No. You got to know that history. The people that took over that land going back to 330 BC in that time period, all the way into the time of the Romans, those were all white people.
Yeah, Cleopatra, she was a big-nosed Edomite.
Yes, that's right.
The history describes her as being ugly. Like they talk about how she was beautiful. She had a big nose, which lets you know she was a so-called Jew.
They were so-called Jews.
Yeah, they were so-called Jews. I found something. This is from Wikipedia. Let's see, I had it. Go ahead and say something, brother, while I find it.
Yeah, so the bottom line, man, you have to know that history, and you got to know when, because all throughout history, whenever a nation took down another nation, they didn't change the name of the lands. That wasn't done until the Greeks. When the Greeks came into power, that's when they started changing the names of all these different lands. That's why today you try to look at a certain area out there and you can't find it. Why? Because the Greeks changed the name to their names. You know?
Yeah. Concerning Robin Hood, it says Robin Hood, the high-minded Saxon yeoman. He had the title of yeoman. And then I looked up yeoman. That was a title given among the Anglo-Saxons. It's a position of nobility.
Okay, so Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah.
And Anglo-Saxon, Saxon means Isaac. Okay? Which goes back to Jacob, Isaac and Jacob, sons of Isaac, which means that they're sons of Jacob. Okay? But anyway, let's go back into this on the RFID chip.
Yeah.
And just read briefly on that insurance program.
Okay.
The children. Yeah, go ahead. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay. Because Elder Tar mentioned about CHIP, which is an acronym. It says, now again, this is from Wikipedia. It says State Children's Health Insurance Program. The State Children's Health Insurance Program, SCHIP, now known more simply as the Children's Health Insurance Program, CHIP, CHIP.
Which is chip. That's the mark of the beast.
How convenient. Yeah, they want you
playing with you. And like Alex Jones always said, you want to hide something, you put it right under somebody's nose.
Yeah, isn't there
in plain sight? That's what he says.
Yeah. Is a program administered by the United States Department of Health and Human Services that provides matching funds to states for health insurance to families with children.
That's the federal government. That's why they're going to tax your ass to get them federal dollars to give it to the separate states. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a free program because they're going to get it out of other people. And that's how they're going to implement the chip.
Yep. The program was designed to cover uninsured children in families with incomes that are modest but too high to qualify for Medicaid. As at its creation in 1997, CHIP was the largest expansion of.
So that's for middle class people.
Mm-hmm.
If read that again, that statement that you just read.
It says the program was designed to cover uninsured children in families with incomes that are modest but too high to qualify for Medicaid.
In other words, they're middle class.
Middle class.
Working class.
At its creation in 1997, CHIP was the largest expansion of taxpayer-funded health insurance coverage for children in the U.S. since Medicaid began in the 1960s. The statutory authority for CHIP is under Title 21 of the Social Security Act. It was sponsored by Senator Edward Kennedy. The Kennedys, you know how devious they were. It was sponsored by Senator Edward Kennedy in a partnership with Senator Orrin Hatch, with support coming from the First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton during the Clinton administration. States are given flexibility in designing their CHIP eligibility requirements and policies within broad federal guidelines. So, that's basically it.
Yeah, and basically, and right in your face, they're telling you what they're going to do with this microchip. But you still got clowns out there that'll say that the microchip is not the mark of the beast.
Well, that's why the elites, they got something that they call your children. They call them kids. And a kid is a baby goat. And what you do with baby goats is you sacrifice it. So it's nothing for them to put chips inside of your children.
Yeah, because you're property anyway.
Yeah.
Your property. So what they want to do is they want to mark their property. They want to put their stamp on their property. And what's that stamp? That microchip. And once you get that microchip in you, there's Elders Ayathan did a video on how they do like electric probes on animals that they'll go to attack you, but then when they hit a certain frequency, they'll stop. The animal will stop from attacking you. They'll turn up the rage and they'll turn it down. So that radio RFID, radio frequency identification device, once they can tune it up or tune it down, you know, and control you. And it's not hard to control you people. You people, all you have to do is give you a good speech and a hot piece of bread, and you're already straight, you know. That's why it says here in Isaiah chapter 60 verse 2, for behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people, but the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. So these people out here in darkness, and these the television and these programs, the news and all that, they keep you in even more darkness. Yep. That's that movie Dark City, you know. And